For the first time since 1999, 5 quarterbacks was drafted in the first round, and they're all expected to start. Let's talk about who we think is going to be the one that's going to fizzle out. All that coming up in about 20 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 rookie quarterbacks and which one we think might not make it. Let's talk about the quarterback. So we've got the NFL season starting up. As we mentioned, we've gone through our previews and everything. So if you want to watch the previews on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, go to YouTube. If you're on the podcast and you just catch this portion of the episode, just rewind it back a few hours. You'll get, because this is a good long episode just for you all, because we want to prepare for the NFL season. Yeah, super excited because this is my favorite time of the year. College football pass, NFL. So now we got to talk about rookies. So this is 2020 from the 2021 draft is the first time since 1999 we had 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Mm-hmm. Let me remind you of all who was drafted in 1999. At quarterback, you had the number 1 pick, which was Tim Couch. Number 2 pick, Donovan McNabb. Number 3 pick, Akili Smith. Next quarterback, number 11, Dante Culpepper. And the 12th pick in the 1999 NFL draft, Cade McNown. He's a noun, not a verb. So we've got that. That was the draft there. So this year we had 5 more. All of them are projected to start at some point, similar to what they were. But the one thing we know about being drafted in the NFL is that ain't everybody gonna hit. Somebody's gonna flame out. Somebody's not going to last. I mean, we saw that with like Jake Locker with the Cam Newton draft and Blaine Gabbert. Even though Blaine Gabbert's still around.
He's a champion too, by the way.
He's a champion too. Something that Cam doesn't have, but he didn't start either. So you have players that you realize that aren't going to make it. And so we're at this point now. And so I mentioned earlier in the show and also in one of the early videos, 5 things that I look at when it comes to teams and the importance of what they look like. Coach, quarterback, additions, subtractions, and how they finished last year. There's a reason why quarterback is second. The reason why quarterback is second is because sometimes a coach can make you look a lot better than what you really are. Mm-hmm. We've seen that. Jared Goff was drafted number 1. Jared Goff also got like $100 million from the Rams, and the Rams were quick to trade him. How often do you see quarterbacks traded? The last quarterback not traded, but the last quarterback that actually was given walking papers with Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. You don't see that very often. It's not very often a high caliber quarterback is available like that. So now we got to figure out, Jimmy, what the hell is going to happen with these 5 that we have. So we've got Trevor Lawrence. We have Zach Wilson. You have Justin Fields, Macaroni Jones, and Trey Lance. We've got to decide who do you feel like is the first one out of the 5 that will fizzle out.
First one out of the 5 who will fizzle out.
I know it's a tough one, right?
I tried to have fun with this. I tried to look at alternative viewpoints to not pick this particular player.
Oh, God.
But all the roads, as far as who's going to flame out first, led right back to MetLife Stadium in New York and Zach Wilson. One thing you don't like that he's got a defensive coach. Yes, out of San Francisco, so I do have a lot of respect for Robert Saleh. But he's got a defensive coach. You have a team that free agents don't want to play for unless they're overpaid defensive players who get hurt. You've already had injuries to your wide receiver core. Your offensive line is not ever mentioned amongst the best or the better or just good offensive lines in the NFL. You have no run game that you can depend on that actually threatens a defense that they have to scheme for instead of focusing all their attention on you and putting 7 in a box. So the first to flame out, I think, because of how it's set up, because of coach, because of organization, because he's looked at as the savior to come in and save this franchise, and a quarterback who was better than him in college, Sam Darnold, couldn't do it there. So why should I believe that you will? I don't care what Tony Romo said about you, that you're going to be mentioned amongst the top 3 or top 5 quarterbacks or quarterbacks of all time. Whatever he said, it's not going to happen with Zach Wilson. It's not designed that way for it to happen. So probably at mostly no fault of his own, he's still going to be the first to flame out.
Okay.
Zach
wow. I have a little bit more faith in him being the guy. I think he'll last longer than we expect.
Okay.
The one I think that's going to fizzle out, I feel really bad even thinking this, but I feel like this guy has the lowest floor of all of them. It's going to be Trey Lance. The only reason why I'm picking Trey Lance is that they're going to put way too much on him too early, and it may not work out. Because he is a 100% project. He's a raw talent. You can tell he hasn't thrown the ball in a couple of years because they didn't play last year in 2020 with everything with COVID. He does, and he just doesn't look like, he doesn't look comfortable yet. Now, there's a chance that Shanahan can work magic, but I think that Shanahan is a victim of his own genius, and he feels like he's smarter than everybody else, and he can do anything with anybody. And I think that him throwing him out there, he's going to throw him out there a lot earlier than he should, may end up making his career go down the other direction.
This is odd. I want to show you something. Here's a note, a small little section about what we're talking about. Read the name that's right there as to who I was going to say.
Oh, God. You said Lance.
I said Lance.
He said Trey Lance. Yeah.
Now, that is just bizarre. You swung me, though, because you mentioned the quarterback-coach combination, and we know that offensive-minded coach with quarterback is usually a much better combination.
Yes,
you can still win without it because Brady won with Belichick. Belichick is all defense. He can't even spell offense. So you can win that way. But the reason I initially chosen Lance was, one, and I watched all their preseason games, as you can imagine.
That's a 49ers fan, you would.
Accuracy was a problem.
Yeah.
Ball speed was a problem. Not that he can't throw the ball hard enough. He threw the ball too hard. And there's a quarterback who used to be notorious for that, who would always dislocate or break their receivers' fingers and throw a lot of interceptions. Brett Favre.
And John Elway. Yeah, they're both infamous for that, yes.
Yeah, but more so the Favre angle in the sense of, is he still the all-time leader in interceptions?
Yes.
Yeah, which you can't do if you're going to – that's probably a big part of the reason why he only won MVP. I mean, he's still Favre, but I don't like that in my quarterbacks, that they don't control their ball speed. And, you know, of all these quarterbacks, he's the only one who didn't play any Division I football, and that's got to affect you in terms of your learning curve. Now, you know, obviously people rave about Trey Lance in the organization just in terms of his intelligence, in terms of how committed he is to the playbook, how focused he is and everything. So he'll overcome that. But as far as before he flames on, he may flame out first. Obviously, I hope he doesn't because he's the quarterback of the future of my franchise.
Of your franchise, yeah.
I've got a lot of things that bother me, and the fact that he's just come through an injury. Insignificant to some people, but he sort of had a micro fracture in one of his fingers last preseason game, threw the ball, hit his hand on someone's helmet, stuff like that. I just still kind of don't like that going into the season. So there are some things about Lance that make me very uncomfortable, which is the reason why I want Jimmy G to start the whole season, which means that he's good, and it gives Trey Lance to really acclimate himself to being a quarterback on and off the field. He's not ready. He's not ready to play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I didn't think about the angle with Brett Favre, him throwing the ball too hard. Because, Favre had 336 interception in his career, which is almost...
probably most of them tips, too.
Yeah.
So not making the wrong read.
Just flying off their fingers because their hands like swollen because they broke it trying to catch that rocket flying by them. Right. So you're right. And that has been my fear with Trey Lance, is that I think they're going to throw him in too early, and that's what helps him fizzle. If he doesn't play this year, I think you have a really good chance of him being good later. I think his floor rises at that point because he'll make better decisions. But I feel like Shanahan's going to be impatient because this team is kind of built to win today, especially with that defensive setup. They're going to want to throw him out there with that run game and make it happen. And then also the other problem is going to be is that Trey Lance is a mobile quarterback. So they may make a couple of design runs to get him out there going. And he's going to get blasted.
It's nothing I could already see in his preseason games. He either does not like to slide or he has not quite learned how to slide. That's
what it is. He hasn't learned how to slide. You can tell he's not a former baseball player.
Right.
And that bothers me with any quarterback that plays like that. That's the one thing I love about Lamar Jackson. That's one thing I rave about him being a good scrambler, is that he knows how to not get hit hard. Like, only time he gets hit hard is when he's sacked, just like every other quarterback gets hit hard when they're sacked. But when he's running,
no clean shots.
No clean shots. They're all chips on his arms and stuff because he knows how to fall and get out of the way. And at the same time, he's so elusive, it's hard. Trey Lance does not look like he knows how to slide. And because of that, that may get him killed.
Yep.